You're listening to the Oz TV podcast, only on the Oz Network.
Hi, this is Billy Garcia from Survivor Cook Islands, and thank you once again for joining us on the Survivor Ghost Island recap. Today, I'm being joined by one of the greatest legends of the game of all time. She was first on Survivor Panama, and she's since played 4 times, including most recently Survivor Game Changers, where she was a game changer. The one and only Cirie Fields. Thank you so much, Cirie, for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Billy. Thank you for having me. Anything for you.
Oh, thank you. So Survivor Ghost Island, how are you liking the season?
You know what? I'm liking it. I'm liking it pretty well. I see there's not as many. You know what I really like? The Ghost Island thing. To get the chance to do things over and maybe save some of us simps that did the wrong thing when we had opportunities.
well, see, this is where you know, I agree that the Ghost Island thing is interesting, but it's impossible to recreate the idol apocalypse that got you in Game Changers. So I don't see, what are they gonna do? They're gonna have a little contest where they send 4 people to Ghost Island and everybody gets an idol.
Well, you know what, Billy? That works for me because I hope that never, ever, ever, ever happens to anyone again.
Oh, all right.
You know what? As iconic as it was, as epic, I should say, as it was, you know, I'm a fan. I always have been a fan. So for that to happen to me, it was so weird. It was kind of like, damn, I'm out.
Yeah.
I was like stuck between contestant and fan. I really didn't know how to feel because I was just like blown away that this happened on one of my favorite shows in the world, my all-time favorite show, Survivor. I guess it wouldn't have been so bad if it was just happening to somebody else.
I hear you. You know what though? My elimination was epic in a different way, and I'll admit that if you watch it back, I had a huge smile as my torch was getting snuffed because I was like, "Oh crap, this is Jeff Probst. I'm getting my torch snuffed. Hey mom, like that's what was going through my head."
Billy, you know I love Jeff, right?
Yeah.
But I don't ever, ever, ever want Jeff to snuff my torch.
I hear you.
Oh, no, don't do it, Jeff. Don't do it.
Well, on the bright side, it took something that's never happened before, an impossible situation to get out of to get you out. Like, basically, they'd have got beat if they wouldn't have did what they did, and that's everybody be safe but you.
Wow. You know what? I don't know that's the case. However,
You would have liked to have found out.
I would have liked to have found out, Billy. You know that. But what other way to go out? What better way to go out? You know what I mean?
No, I agree. All right. So, getting into our episode here, our episode recap. As usual, part of the course, we get the camp straight after Tribal Council, where now Kellen's kind of backpedaling, trying to explain why she pulled the double vote on Laurel, and Laurel's not having it. I don't think anybody would in that situation. What do you think? If somebody pulled the double vote on you, where they put 2 votes on not only the regular vote, but they had that extra vote they put it on you, how would you feel about it?
Well, needless to say, Billy, I wouldn't be their friend. Might be a few fireworks, but you know what? That's when your strategy has to come in. You know why? Because you have to put. And I have been guilty of this myself because it's easier said than done. I can sit here now and say it because I've eaten, had a great day for Nurses Week at my job. I had food and everything, even ice cream. Oh, nice. But during those times, your emotions, come on, you're playing for $1 million. You're struggling, you're starving, you're dirty, you're missing your family. So although you might want to be cool and calm and have an adult conversation and figure out what happened, anger takes place. You're hangry. All of that stuff takes place. So I would have been pissed off. And I would like to sit here and say to you that I would calmly say, you know what? Hey, what happened, guys? But no, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be rolling my eyes. There'd probably be some fireworks at camp that night.
Hey, it's okay to be human.
Right, we all are, and we're extra human when we lose all the comforts of life.
Very true. Very true. So they go straight to the reward challenge in the edit here, and it's the episode that's meant to draw tears from everybody in the game as well as everybody watching, which is the family visit. And uh, the the way that it was presented, they saved Dominic's for last because he was the only one that didn't have a blood relative. He had his wife, and I don't know if they knew how she was gonna react, or or if it just worked out for the best. But she screamed, cried, everything because that was the first time since they had been married that they'd ever been apart. So
Oh my
so
God.
it was like the biggest tearjerker out of all the family that came, and yeah, I thought for sure they were setting Dominic up for this epic win. I don't know why I thought that, but I did.
You know what? They speak to our family members. They know, which fam. Not just listen. I'm not saying that my family member is less emotionally involved than your family member or her family member, but there are certain things. Terry Dietz has said this to me, like a wife and a husband and wife versus a sister and brother. If I have the opportunity to give somebody something like he did for my husband and I in Panama, certain relationships, not to diminish any relationship at all, but for a husband and wife that have never been separated, and then you go through this traumatic event, and Survivor is traumatic.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know what nobody. And then to get to know that they made it to this milestone in the game, and then you get to come out and all you're doing, especially the first time you ever play, the family members are at home just like biting their nails. They have no idea what's going on. They have apps. I mean, you can watch it on TV. I did.
yeah,
I'm a fan, like I said in the beginning. However, you don't really know until you're in that situation.
yeah,
So you have no idea what's really going on, and then you get to come and see them, and then the weight loss and the
yeah,
grindiness and the harsh living that you can see all over their faces and their bodies. Oh my God, they know what they're doing. Survivor. That's why it's been around so long. That's why we are the number one reality show in the world, because the producers are great. They know what they're doing, and they know what to expect from certain relationships.
yeah. That's for sure. These producers, especially the U.S. version of Survivor, really have this down to a science. Uh,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the game was they go through this series of obstacles to retrieve a beanbag is what it looked like, and then they had to toss the beanbag onto this tiny little platform, and if it sticks, then you win. And of course the beanbags people are hitting it and they're bouncing off everywhere, and some people couldn't get through the part of the obstacle where you have to dig underneath a pole and then squeeze yourself under. There was a lot of people that just couldn't dig enough. Um,
Right. I
so
know about digging, Billy,
yeah, yeah,
and not being able to get under.
I, I'll be the first to admit that's probably my absolute worst survivor skill is digging. Like paddling, I'm totally there, but digging.
And you know what? It sounds so easy, like dig. Just dig. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
You dig after you haven't eaten or showered or slept well, and you're watching your bed 24/7. It's hot.
yeah.
Yeah, digging is not as easy as it sounds. And I used to volunteer. I'll dig. Never again. I learned.
And there's a technique to it because it caves in on itself because it's sand. So
Right.
yeah, it's definitely not as easy as it looks on TV. So Sebastian wins reward, and of course, it wouldn't be Survivor if they didn't ask him to share it with others. He had to pick who to share it with. So he chose Dominic because the way his wife reacted. At least that's what he said. Then he chose
I
Wendell.
think
Then he chose Wendell. Then he chose Donathan, and all the women got left out, and they were so butthurt But it didn't end there. It didn't end there. Um, Sebastian was then told he had to choose somebody to go to Ghost Island, but whoever goes to Ghost
Oh,
Island doesn't have to play a game. They automatically get the advantage. So
woo!
they knew that ahead of, Sebastian knew that ahead of time. Everybody did. And he could win himself. He chose not to. And he could have offered it to the guys first, which he did. And if none of the guys went, then the girls would decide, probably via the rock pool. But one of the guys in Wendell volunteered. And so,
Wendell's smart. That's why.
yeah, I agree. And so, uh, the women were butthurt because they felt like it was a wasted spot. Nobody replaced Wendell. So they felt like,
Right.
yeah, so it kind of threw salt in their wounds. So while
Right, because they got double jeopardy. One, you didn't pick me to go on the reward, and two, you didn't pick me to go for the advantage.
exactly, yeah. So while the three guys were with their loved ones having lunch, I guess is what you call it, picnic. The four women went into overdrive, especially Chelsea, into plotting against the guys. It's time to break up Wendell and Dominic, and I don't know. I felt like this should have happened earlier, but at least it's happening.
Yeah, but you see what happened to Chelsea. Sometimes you got to strike a little sooner. Like again, it's emotions. When you play, and I've learned this. It took me 4 times to learn, Billy. But when you play with emotions, it never works out. You have to be almost. I hate to say no. I'm not going to say. You just have to play emotionless. You can't let your emotions drive you, no matter how hungry and mad and upset you are. You have to, which I've never been able to do. So my hats off to those people who have been able to do that. But you have to almost like separate yourself from what's really going on and how you really feel and what you really want to do to these people. Because everybody wants, are you but mad? You talking about angry? You don't take me. I've been lucky. I've been fortunate that anytime there's been a pick for a reward, especially for the family visit, the family, that's the gut wrenching one, Billy.
Yeah.
You come on. The most, the one that everybody wants to go on the most. If you don't get nothing else, the car, you don't want fan favorite, you want the family visit. You need the family visit to continue. And for you not to get picked for that, and then not even to be thrown a bone to go, I want to go to Ghost Island. Take me. Let me get the advantage. You don't give me anything. It sends you into a tailspin, and that's a tailspin of emotional anger, and that's what happened with Chelsea, and that usually doesn't work in your favor.
Yeah. As far as playing with no emotion, you're preaching to the choir because my prize isn't $1 million. I couldn't do it either. So,
But there are a lot of people who can. Let me name them. There's Tina, there's Tony, there's Sandra. Those are the people, Sarah. You have to be, you have to play. You don't have to be, you have to play emotionally vacant.
Yep. So Wendell goes to Ghost Island, and we find out what the advantage is. That he gets the Malcolm second chance from the Philippines, the same advantage where they're playing one of probably your least favorite challenges, where they hold the stick together with a ball in the middle, and they have
Don't talk about that, Billy. Don't talk about that, Billy. Don't talk about emotionally angry. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so he basically, if he drops it, just like Malcolm did, he gets a second chance at it. He gets to put the ball back.
I could have used that second chance at Micronesia. It was that advantage then.
You know.
That's why I'm not too opposed to these advantages. They just came a little late.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. If you had that advantage, oh my, yeah, just
Who
what could have
knows?
been, what could have been. All right. So while all this is going on, I'm sorry, Dominic decides to talk to Wendell and Donathan, and sort of put together or finalize an alliance with the three of them, plus Wendell, who's at Ghost Island, and bring in Laurel, who has been loyal to them. And you would think Donathan would be all for it, because it's been working for him so far, but he was very weary about it. He was very non-committal.
Well, usually when that happens, we see what we see. but they're in the thick of it. So there's something that Donathan knows that is telling him that that's not a good play for him. And at some point, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And at the height of, after the we're getting short in the game now. It's getting close.
Yeah.
So that's when the paranoia just creeps up on you. And if you haven't been making the moves that you really, and listen, there's nothing wrong with not making moves and going with the majority and just being under the radar. But when it gets to a point that the next move that's being made is not for your best game, then we don't know what Donathan knows, why he reacted the way that he did, because this is not the best game move for him.
Yeah. Well, at camp, while Kellen was being bitter, Laurel was also in that same situation where she's now weighing the pros and cons. And when Donathan gets back, they tend to have a little sidebar where they're trying to figure out what's in their best interest. Because I think Laurel, she's thinking with a straighter head than Donathan at this point. She sees them as not just one vote, but a double swing vote, where you have the women on one side, the 4 women on one side, the 4 guys or the 3 guys on the other side, and then they're the double swing vote.
Right. So which can work for you. It can work to your advantage sometimes, but it can come back to bite you as well.
Yeah. So she's at least weighing it though, instead of just jumping at whatever was offered to her. So we get.
I've done that too, Billy.
Oh,
That's
So we get to the immunity challenge, and each castaway must balance a small metal ball on a wooden cylinder, and just what we were saying, it's your least favorite challenge, and as we would have it, Wendell would need that to play that advantage, because he dropped out. He dropped it. He was looking good, and just out of nowhere he dropped it. I
know how that feels.
Yeah, I assume he lost focus or something. So everybody puts theirs down, and he gets to reset his and do his. So yeah, but in spite of that, just like with Malcolm, it didn't work out for him. It dropped again. And it was almost like they were dropping like flies. Like, we were seeing that it's not as easy as it looks on TV.
It's not. Do you know how many people gave me advice and told me how I held it the wrong way? It looked easy from home. Trust me, it does. But I guess the curse continues, and I don't feel that bad then, because Wendell's great. He's great at challenges, and he couldn't do it either. Twice.
And what he does for a living is furnishing, so he should be able to hold something like when you glue it together or when you're having somebody screw it in. You would think he'd be able to do it, but the wind blows, the sun gets in your eyes, you're drained from all the food, you're dehydrated.
Right.
You just had a family visit, so your mind starts to wander.
Oh my God! Now you're really. There's so many other variables that come into play that people from home, and myself included at the time before I played, don't understand. There's so many things where they looking like, oh God, that was so easy. Why couldn't you do that? It's a different ball game when you're out there. It's a different ball game when you're hungry. It's a different ball game when you're missing your family. Now you saw your family. I don't know. Sometimes that fuels your fire to go on. But sometimes it raises the level of anxiety because you're so close and you see them and you don't want to let them down. And now you got to go do a challenge. And something as simple as holding a little metal ball with 2 wooden sticks, where you would think, oh, a furniture guy or operating room nurse who should have nerves of steel, that should be easy for them. It just isn't as easy as it looks, guys.
Yeah, it looked like Dominic won the immunity because he never tried to change his grip, and he was probably the one sweating the least. So it didn't affect his hands at all because he wasn't sweaty. In fact, I wish they'd have shown, like, as they were walking up, because if it were me, I would have stuck my hand in the dirt under the sand underneath just to get the sweaty film or just the film of being dirty, get some traction, get something in my hands. So I would have liked to have seen if that was the case with any of them, but yeah, it looked like Dominic was he just didn't switch his grip. He was able to hold that one that one position the longest.
I will say though, with those type of challenges, and also like for challenges where you're perched on something, once you change position, if you are fortunate enough to be those type of players that cannot change a position and hold a position for a very long time, like Andrea and Parvati and those guys, then you 9 times out of 10 you will win. And I think what you're saying is absolutely right. If he didn't change position, that's the reason he won. Because once you adjust, it just seems like there's no recouping from that.
Yeah. He was solid. I'll give him that. And then he was also looked like he was controlling his breathing to where he never. It was very regular, and while others would change their breathing as they start to shake, and especially Donathan, like he almost looked like he was starting to hyperventilate, and then he dropped everything.
Donovan is a guy after my own heart because I'm hyper to control your breathing. I can really control my walking. You talking about control your breathing? Are you kidding me? Yeah, there's special kind of people that can do that, Billy.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying I'm somebody that can do it. I'm impressed with somebody that did it. So, ironically, this ended Chelsea's winning streak. She would have been on an immunity winning streak.
Wow, I know.
And that was Dominic's pitch at tribal council. I mean, at camp leading into tribal council, was his pitch was
Get her now.
yeah,
Get her now.
exactly, like it's time to get out the physical threats, and she's the biggest physical threat. She had won like I don't know what it was, 2 or 3 immunities in a row, and so the pitch was easy on the guys. The question was it going to be easy on Laurel? And if so, then can she pull Donathan? Because Donathan was starting to get into the wishy-washiness that comes with the game when you start to get paranoid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go to tribal council, and Donathan was asked a very simple question, and the floodgates open. It was diarrhea of the mouth. It was non-stop money shots from the castaways, all like shocked. Like he came out and said the girls approached him, the guys approached him. There's a big crack in the VD. He was blowing up everything. It was.
Don't get it all up, He's breaking, but I got faith in him. I got hope for him. You know that happens though, Billy. You getting again. Time is getting short, and the heightened paranoia. It just sometimes it takes over, and it uses you as a puppet. I bet inside Jonathan was probably inside saying, "No, stop!" But sometimes you just cannot control the paranoia and just the desire. The desire gets so strong to win. The closer you get, that desire mixed with paranoia makes for diarrhea of the mouth sometimes.
Yeah. If he'd had a microphone, it would have been a pipe bomb. He was just going off, which was great TV though. And coming from him with his southern accent is so cute.
But you know what? I've seen other people do worse and say worse and still slide on by sometimes. So depending on what the other people are valuing and how upset they are or how non-emotionally they're playing, it may or may not work out for Donathan. I got my fingers crossed for him though.
Well, in the end, Laurel and Donathan ended up siding with Wendell, Dominic, and Sebastian, and unfortunately for Chelsea, that was her end. To her credit, in her exit interview, she was not mad at all. She thought it was great. She had a lot of fun. She gets to be on the jury. She was happy that she made it that far. She made it to the family visit. So she was a true fan. She acted like a fan, which was awesome.
Yeah, I was the same way in Panama. I mean, my first time, we made it to Final Four. I was ecstatic. Listen, your ultimate goal is to win. However, just the experience and to get to see, especially as a fan, to participate in something that you love and always was wishing and hoping and saying that you could do, and to actually do it and to make it, like she said, to get your family to come and see that you made it this far and you had the ability to make it further than other people have. And a lot of season 36, 37 seasons now, 36 seasons.
36, yeah.
That's an accomplishment in itself. So, my hat is off to Chelsea, and is on for Jonathan. He just got to damage control. Damage control is key. And it all depends on how good you are at damage control. Things can always, Survivor is the most unpredictable experience I've ever had in my life. Everything that I would predict is going to happen, or if you're comfortable and you're gliding, just the fact that it's 3-2 with Jonathan and Laurel, I'm thinking, oh, bad move, because they can just pick them off when they want to. But it's never that easy in the game of Survivor because it's just that unpredictable. Anything can happen.
Anything. Yep, that's for sure. And I personally think that the last week's episode kind of foreshadowed that Dominic at some point feels like he'll have to take out Wendell. So that's maybe how Laurel and Jonathan might make their way in. He's gonna need help to do it.
That's the beauty of this game. Your closest ally is your toughest competitor. The closer it gets to the end. You know what I mean? If you like Jonathan, Wendell, and Dominic, and right now it seems like a great thing. We got the numbers. It's 3 of us. We pulled Jonathan and Laurel, so now it's 3-2. However, at some point you got to start looking at your compadre like, wait a minute. Both of us in there.
Yeah.
And then you have to start making those tough decisions.
Yeah. You want to win comfortably if you can help it.
You can help it. Yeah. You know what? You just want to win. Listen, and like I said, you have to put emotions aside. They may have been allies the whole 38 days. 38 days. But that 39th day, can your ally beat you?
Yeah. Exactly.
You have to consider that, and you have to be willing to do what you have to do.
Yeah. I always like to, when I'm watching at home, I always like to say, like, you want to feel competitive like you're in a Rocky movie, but the truth is you would rather it be the Titanic with everybody else being the band that played on the Titanic sunk.
Shame on you, Billy. Shame on you.
But it's the truth.
But it is the truth. Yeah. I do concur.
All right, so it's time to rate this episode. Are we gonna buy it, rent it, or bin it, which means to trash it? What do you think?
I say rent it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Rent it. It moved the story forward. We had some episodes earlier in the season that were just off the hook. So they kind of set the bar for the season. So I'm waiting for another one of those.
Oh, I think we're going to get it. That's why I'll just rent this one. I'm saving my money to buy the good ones.
All right, fair enough. So we've got a record number of viewer listener questions for you. You set the record for the most questions ever sent in for the podcast.
Well, thank you. I'm ready to answer all that I can.
All right. So batting lead off here, we got Danny, and he starts out with a comment, and then he gets into his question. His comment is, for those upset at Jonathan and Laurel, I feel they were hoping to vote with the boys, but get Wendell to flush his idol, and Jonathan's with Jonathan's comment that tribal. So he feels like that's what was maybe Jonathan's motivation, was to flush an idol. It didn't work out. So he says, I get why they did that. Okay, yeah. This immunity challenge is his least favorite. He knows he would. Danny says he knows he'd failed. Cirie did this challenge back. Oh, here we go. Back to bring back bad memories, seeing it revised. What is your favorite final immunity challenge ever?
Favorite final immunity challenge. Honestly, it's one that I wouldn't be good at. But one of my all-time favorites is standing on that perch out in the water.
Oh yeah, the water.
Yeah, when you have to stand on the perch. But I'm not good at anything that takes stamina or like. Listen, I'm out. If you're offering like gummy worms or something, I'm your girl. But I like the one where they have to like stand on a perch or um
My season had that one you were speaking of.
yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites. I think Jen, who lost to that? Who is it? You know what? It's so many now. Um, Mike, who gave that one up after hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and end up losing?
Ooh,
I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Yeah. On my season, Ozzy won it as we would all expect.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I'm with you. If I was in that challenge, I'd be like, "Are you offering something, Jeff? I'll take your hat." Like, just give me your hat. I'll jump off right now. And I'm talking like 1 minute after he says go.
Wait, I have a suggestion for a final Survivor Immunity Challenge
All right.
that I might have a chance at. If they have a final immunity challenge of eating barbecue ribs, I'm your person.
Oh my! If they put up KFC, I'll beat you. I inhale KFC like a vacuum cleaner inhales dust.
Stop it.
So Marlene says that they had the okay. I'm gutted by the way that you were voted out of the game changers on Australian Survivor last year. They had a special idol that cancels out another idol play. If you had this idol, who would you send it to? Send it on to with someone to send someone home. Like who would you use it on to send someone home? In that situation.
So in my situation in Game Changers, if I had that and it would cancel somebody's idol at that time.
Yeah, the like who would you cancel so that they would be the one to go home?
At that particular time, I probably would have canceled Officer Sarah's.
Ooh, that's a game-winning move, basically. Yeah.
Potentially,
Yeah.
I would have. I had absolutely would have canceled Officer Sarah's.
Yeah. You know what though? If I was in your situation after she just pulled the old, you didn't read the fine print thing on you. Like I'd have been like, revenge, bitch.
Got him. I would have did the same. And then she took Michaela. Yeah, I would have had to get Officer Sarah's.
Yeah. All right. So Paul Dutch, Cirie, did you know Russell Hantz honors you on his podcast with a clip of your interview with Ben Watersworth from years ago in his opening?
Oh, no, I did not know that. Listen, I work a lot of hours, Billy, and I work very early. I get up at 4:15 in the morning, and I usually don't get home till maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So I haven't had the opportunity to hear a lot of podcasts. And but I thank Russell. I've always been a fan of Russell's. I've always said Russell should have won at least one of the times that he played because he played a hell of a game several times. You know what I mean? People might not like him or his style, but you have to give it to him. He was the originator of finding idols without clues. Yeah. So you have to give him credit where credit is due. But thank you, Russell, and thank you, Hi Ben.
So I was on Russell's podcast maybe about a year and a half ago, and we joked around saying maybe we should go apply for Australian Survivor. Maybe that's our way to get back on. And like a couple of weeks ago, or not even a couple of days ago, it's like all over Facebook that Russell's going to be on next season of Australian Survivor. And I'm like, oh, I should have followed in on my own thing. Like, he did it. Like,
is it true? Is he really?
Yeah, it looks like it's the truth. Yeah. Holy
wow.
smokes. Yeah.
Good for him. Maybe he'll get to win. Maybe that's his shot. And if it works out for him, you never know.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. All right. So Layla says, what I love about you, Cirie, is that you have played 4 seasons, only gotten 9 votes against you. You are truly the best social player ever. I admire you on my television screen always. It wasn't even a question. She just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, thank you very much, Layla.
All right. So Richard says that he's very glad that we got you. He got to meet you and Ben in person. at the Game Changer finale, and he says he was so thrilled that he for it, not just to meet Ben but you as well. He's says that Cirie, when you were going to grace our Australian soil or bypass New Zealand for a visit, then to visit Amy in New Zealand. When are you going to do either?
Oh, I don't know. Is he sending me an invitation? Can I stay at his house when I get there? Tell him to DM me on Instagram. We can talk.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Richard, there you go. That's Cirie stay at your crib? Wow. All right. Yeah. All right. So Cole says, this is the first time sending any questions to the podcast. See, that's the influence you have, Cirie. He'll send his first question ever. When he heard that Cirie was on, he immediately had to send in something for his favorite player. If you had survived your heroes versus villain elimination, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off here. If you had survived your heroes versus villains elimination, what was your plan moving forward? And were you still, did you feel like you were still doomed to go out pre-merge? I don't think the last part.
Listen, like I said about the unpredictability of Survivor, it took me a while to learn how truly unpredictable it is. At that time, on Heroes versus Villain, I was just trying to keep my head above water. Because, again, as you know, in the beginning for me, I have to kind of stay in the shadows and stay a little quiet, and I have to grasp at any straws that I can grab onto just to maintain to the next day. So if anything, I probably would have tried to stay with Billy, as long as I could, and work our way into any cracks that we could.
Yeah. The whole Candace thing didn't work for me either, so I feel you.
We have that in common.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I still maintain she owes me 10% of all the Survivor pays after Cook Island because I made her famous. But all right. So who's that? That was cool. All right. So we got Sophie Roberts next, and she says, Cirie, who did you bond with the most on the pre-jury trip in Heroes versus Villain? And where was your pre-jury trip?
Believe it or not, my pre-jury trip was Fiji.
Oh.
So I've been to Fiji twice. And who? Oh, Stephanie. Stephanie was my girl.
Oh.
Me and Steph LaGrossa, we kicked it the whole time in Fiji. I love her. She did her famous dance move. I'm not going to put them out there, Steph. I love you.
I met Stephanie once. She's a bundle of energy. Like, it's legit.
Oh my God, Steph is amazing. She kept me doing things like every day, because I went to soak and sit in my room and eat food. You know what I mean? I was down early, and my family was there, but Steph became my family out there in Fiji.
All right, so Olga says love from Israel. That she's so happy that we got you on the Oz Network this week. I know how much that they've been nagging Ben last year to get you on. She was one of the people nagging Ben to get you on last year. That's great. The only question is for you is have you ever met Vesepia, which is her favorite winner?
Oh, have I did meet Vesepia. I met Vesepia after Panama, I believe.
Okay.
Panama. Yeah, after Panama, I did a charity event in Michigan, and Vesepia was there. And she's one of the most gracious, lovely. She just as lovely as you see her on TV. That's how she is in person.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Yeah, Traverse City, Michigan. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I was on the same one with you. Yeah, Vesepia. That's where I first met her as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
forgot you were there.
Yeah. My season was right after yours. My season was right after yours, like literally. But yeah, it was a great trip, and yeah, she's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got Mitch, who wants to know in all of your seasons, who was the biggest diva on your tribe, and if it's somebody different, who was the most annoying on one of your tribes of all your seasons?
Oh, Billy.
Hey, that's Mitch.
Mitch. Shame on you, Mitch. The biggest diva, Oh. Oh.
Uh-oh, somebody came to mind.
Oh, I hate to do it to you, Brad. I hate to do it to you, Brad Culpepper. My dog, but Brad was pretty much, Brad didn't play. Brad is, considers himself the upper echelon, and he expects certain treatment. And
Okay.
I would have to say, it was Mr. Culpepper, who I love, and I send my best wishes to his son right now.
All
So I hate to, but Brad, I have to plug in Billy before I die right here on you. Okay, good.
right, no worries.
And Culpepper, biggest diva and most annoying. Oh my God, she's never gonna play again, and I love her too. And everybody agreed with me on the tribe at the time. I'm sorry, Courtney, for Courtney, the fire dancer from Panama. I love her though.
Courtney Marriott?
Merritt, Courtney
Merritt.
was
Yeah, all right.
well,
Fire dancer.
yeah. The fire dancer was amazing though.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So Erica wants to know. She says Billy and Cirie would make an amazing alliance.
Uh-oh, Billy, you're gonna get voted out.
No! Go, I'm dead in the water already. See, the way I would pitch it to you is that everybody that made it deep in the game would see you as a threat. But those of us that, especially me, who went early, like I have no experience or not enough experience to get myself to the end. So I have to attach myself to somebody who needs the numbers and who to fend off the threat, and who would be okay with sitting next to that guy, the Candace guy, the I love you guy at the end. So that would be my pitch. That would be my pitch.
You got me, Billy. We have alliance. It's you and me to the end.
All right. So hashtag bring back Billy Garcia. All you fans out there. All right. So Ray wants his comment is, Cirie, do you still keep in touch with Melinda from your season from Melinda?
Oh my God, I haven't heard from Melinda years. It's been years. I wish her well. She was my girl while I was out there, but I haven't heard from her for a very long time.
All right, we got a question here. I don't know if it's the same Ruth Marie you know, but it's a Ruth Marie.
Oh no!
Wants to know. I want to know what Cirie would do if she were sent to Exile Island reward boat and picked from the following things. This is the old Cochrane deal where
I know. I wish that was my Exile Island.
So she came up with her own for you to pick.
Okay.
From. All right. So first is the voodoo idol, which is you have an idol with no worth, but it becomes a full idol if someone plays an idol at a tribal council. And now the powerless idol is fully powered. You get a regular, you have a regular one. So
you might want to send that into Jeff. That's a good one.
That's a good one. The second choice is the vote tripler, where your one vote becomes now 3 votes. You get 3.
Ooh.
The immunity canceller, which is you play this and cancel someone's ability to compete at the next immunity challenge.
Ooh.
And then finally the mutiny idol, which is you play it to save to whomever has the most votes from elimination, but you send them to the other tribe instead.
Nah, I'm going for the voodoo idol. Going for the good old voodoo idol, because if I understand correctly, it doesn't come into play unless someone else plays an immunity idol, right?
Right. And considering
I can use it in Game Changers. Now I got my own immunity idol. Why would I not take that one?
It makes sense. It makes sense. One person, Brian Corridon, voted for the mutiny idol, and then everybody else voted for the vote tripler. So
really? No, see, you know what? In normal circumstances, is not normal. Doesn't happen to me. You know that, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Normal circumstances, yes, that would be the most ideal. But I'm still stuck clearly on the trauma from Game Changer. So I'm thinking with that emotional mind. If I was thinking minus the emotional mind, then of course the vote tripler. Numbers are key in this game.
Wow. I would have been really interested to see what would have happened if you would have pulled out an advantage. And then nobody's got anything. Does it cancel everybody's?
What would they have done?
Yeah, does it cancel everybody's, or does it just mean, okay, that's the end of that tribal, we do it again the next tribal? Like, I don't know.
Hey, you never know. And that would be ideal if the voodoo idol came to life and became an idol and then canceled everybody else's, all the other idols out, and then you're the one that gets to choose who goes home.
Wow.
Now that's a voodoo idol. I'm like, Jeff, you hear that?
All right. So Thomas wants to know, why do people keep comparing you and Sandra all the time? He doesn't see any similarities between your games.
I agree. I don't know. I guess it's like
I have a theory, but I'll let you answer.
Well, I'd like to hear your theory. I don't know. I guess because we're just two women, and we're both from, like inner city women. I think Sandra's Puerto Rican, and she's from, I think Sandra might even be from Connecticut. I'm not sure where she is from originally, but we kind of, we're spicy and sweet at the same time. So I guess they see those type of similarities. And we love to play the game Survivor. I don't know why they compare us, but that's a comparison that I'll take. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Sandra.
My theory is Sandra's the greatest winner of all time because she's won twice, and you're the greatest player to not win. So I think that's where the comparison is.
Wait, I got to cut you off, Billy, because you're trying to be politically correct right now. You're trying to skate by under the radar with that comment. Sandra's the greatest winner, so am I the greatest loser? That's what you're really trying to say, Billy, but that's okay. I'll take it.
Hey, if somebody's the greatest loser ever, it has to be the man who holds the record for the most times being voted out. That's Ozzy in South Pacific. So
no, I'm just joking with you. I don't know what it is, but I'll take any comparison to Sandra. Anything that puts me in the same realm as Sandra, I'll take it.
All right. So Hilda says, would you ever compete in a U.S. versus Australian Survivor or a U.S. versus New Zealand Survivor? I think this is probably harping on this whole thing with Russell Hantz going on the Australian version. So would you ever do like a Survivor Summit, Survivor World Cup type?
Billy, did I not start this off by telling you that this is the greatest reality show in the history of the world? So any show related to Survivor, it could be Survivor Vietnam. Well, it was Survivor Vietnam. It could be Survivor Washington, D.C. If it's Survivor, I will compete in it.
I hear you. Yeah. You know what, then? I'm going to suggest you work on your Spanish because there's this great version of Survivor in the network Unimas called Reto Cuatro Elementos, which means the 4-element challenge. It's on right now, and I look at it and I'm like, Survivor needs to steal some of these challenges. Like,
wow, really?
Yeah.
I understand un poquito español. I can practice.
Yeah. Well, they've done a few Survivor challenges, like the one where you have to hold yourself up with a rope. They've done that one.
Wow.
But they have their own that just makes me look at it and go, yeah, we need to steal a few of these.
Really? Wow. Anything that's like easy for me, like eating M&Ms or something?
Well, they had this one challenge where they had one tribe member with their head in this plastic case, and then in the plastic case it had like tarantulas and cockroaches and stuff. And then they had snakes that they would pass her, and she would have to pass it and put it in a bin, but she couldn't because she had all that stuff going on in the case. She couldn't really see what's going on. And
no, I'm out.
You're out.
I ain't even gonna play this one. What's the host of that game's name?
Her name is Montserrat. I forget her last name, but she's like this really famous Spanish celebrity.
Montserrat, no, thank you. No, thank you. I'm not even playing. I'll sit out this one. I volunteer.
All right, fair enough. So Miranda wants to know, what was the worst challenge you've ever competed on during Survivor? And What was one challenge that you wish you competed on during any of your seasons of Survivor?
The worst challenge for me was that one on the pole up way up in the air where you got to hold yourself
Oh,
up there.
I hate those. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so afraid that I would, I don't know, lose my grip and just flop backwards and die.
I feel you.
Those are the worst. You can't hold on to the top. And just to hope, no, I'm down, I'm out. And one that I wish I could have competed in, I don't think I've said it. You know what? Another one I didn't like. Let me just add one more to that whole thing. Was the one where you get all greased up and slide. I bounced like a floaty. I don't know what happened with that. I didn't like that one at all. But the ones I would like to, I like the question and answer ones.
Okay, fair enough.
The Survivor trivia ones. I love those.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm with you on the pole though. I'd have been like afraid to get like testicle rash, like sliding down the pole.
Not the balls.
All right. So Sasha Peter-Smith has this little game she wants to play with you called Kiss, Slap, Hug, or Run Away from the following players. So I'll give you like names, and you choose whether you kiss them, slap them, hug them, or run away.
Okay.
All right. So I think we're going to start out with an easy one here. Sandra.
I will hug Sandra.
All right. Sue Hawk.
I might run a little bit from Sue. Jeff.
Richard Hatch.
Oh, I'm a hug and kiss Richard Hatch.
All right. Here's a few people from this season. Laurel.
I'm gonna hug sister girl Laurel. I'm gonna have to hug her.
All right, Donathan. That's an easy one.
Donathan, I'm gonna hug and kiss Donathan. Donathan's my boy. Go Donathan. Get together, Donathan. Put the emotions aside. No, go ahead.
Last one, Kellen.
Ooh.
Oh.
I might hug Kelly. I'll give Kelly a nice little hug.
All right. So you basically did the exact opposite of what Joe did, which was a slap fest. He was slapping people left to right.
Yeah, no, I'm not slapping up everybody. There's a few people I might slap, but you didn't mention it.
All right. All right. So Leah wants to know, the Survivor guys just don't want you and Sandra on the same tribe.
I think that might be lucky for me. You can't have two. Can you have two queens? Can you have two divas? You can't have two divas on the same trip for a little while, but eventually there can only be one woman of the house, Billy. You know that. And we ain't being sister wives.
So she wants to know, what was your reaction to seeing Sandra finally voted out?
You know what? My reaction was, I think like everybody else's, it was respect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was because, and they the way she went out was, you saw how the tribe respected her.
Yeah.
Had I been there, I would have been the same way. I would have gave her that same respect because, you can't win them all. Yeah. And it doesn't have to do anything with her gameplay. You just can't win them all. So it would have been nothing but respect and love.
All right. Matt says that you're his favorite player of all time.
Thank you, Matt.
And he says one of his favorite quotes is when you said, "You have people begging to stay here. If somebody wants to quit, let them quit." In regards to Shane. He said that. Yeah.
I meant that with every ounce of my being. They were telling me I was the next to go, and then you have a volunteer, and y'all want to talk him into staying? If he wants to quit, let him quit.
I'm with you on that one. He says that you've inspired him. He's not a good swimmer, and that's why he never applied. But you inspired him to go for it, so he's going to apply. He's going to push himself now.
Go for it, man. I got my fingers crossed for you. Go for it. Don't ever let anything that you think you don't do well. You see, Survivor is a game that's primarily in beautiful location, always in beautiful location, surrounded by nothing but what? H2O. And I, the non-swimmer, if I can go and do it Anybody can do it. Don't let your self-limitations hold you back from your dreams, because Survivor is amazing. And if you get on, Matt, I want a ticket to the finale.
Gene says that he's very happy that you're on this week and that he wanted you on the Oz Network for a while. He thanks me and Ben Watersworth for getting you on. His question is, do you still keep in touch with anyone from your original season of Panama?
Oh yes, I actually stayed with Shane when I went to the Game Changers finale. I talked to Aris. Aris has a beautiful wife and little boy right now. Yeah, I stay in contact. I talked to Bob Dog. Yeah, I talked to quite a few people. Yes.
All right. Latifa has a question here. Says, when was the last time you spoke to the most robbed player that keeps getting cut from returning seasons? Natalie Bolton from Micronesia.
Oh, I love Natalie. I think she's so beautiful. I haven't spoken to Natalie in a very, very long time, but I do stalk her on Instagram. Hey, Natalie.
You and half the male population is Instagram. All right. Rachel Harper has a similar game that she wants to play called Kiss, Marry, Have a Lunch Date with, or Spend 24 hours on an Abandoned Island with.
Okay.
Or Run to the Hills from. That's your last option here. Lauren Reimer is one of the names here.
Lauren Reimer.
Yeah, she's from last season, the softball player. We can skip her.
I guess that's the answer. I'm sorry, Lauren. I don't remember. I gotta see her face.
Courtney Yates.
Oh, I will have a lunch date with Courtney.
Ooh, all right. Rupert.
Oh, now what are the options now?
You can kiss, marry, you used up lunch date with, so spend 24 hours on an abandoned island or run to the hills from.
I'll spend 24 hours with Rupert. Because Rupert going to find food. He's going to keep me fed.
All right. So last one is Shane.
Oh, Shane. I guess I would have to give Shane a kiss on the cheek for letting me stay at his beautiful house with his beautiful girlfriend, Courtney. Courtney and Shane, I love you guys.
All right. So our last question here comes from Granny Survivor. Yeah. She says she can't believe what a great week it's been for both the American Survivor and the New Zealand Survivor. It's been a fantastic season so far. Her questions are: what was your reaction to seeing Micronesia being represented through the stick and the idol this season? the effing stick.
Eliza is a Survivor icon, and to see her telling Jason, that is epic. Survivor, that's epic. Eliza, it's an idol. It's just a mistake. I loved it.
And her second question is, the new jury format. How do you like, since you experienced both, the regular jury and the new jury, which one do you like the most?
I like the new jury format because you get more information. You get more. I think you get more as a jury member. You get more out of it. It's not just like Jeff said. Jeff said it best. It's not like just the bitter, angry questions. Well, what you actually put the people in a position where they have to really earn that $1 million check.
Yeah.
And at that time, they have to answer the questions. They have to, and it's open dialogue. So where I may be trying to communicate something and I have it, and someone else can elaborate on it or expound on it for me, I think that's helpful, and it opens it up for all the members of the jury.
Yeah. And as a viewer, I think every once in a while in the old format, not every once in a while, often, you would get like some really lame questions like, what would you do with the $1 million? And this way we get the good questions. The people with the good questions get to speak more.
Absolutely. And if you don't really have anything, again, you get the help from your other juror members who you might have, you may have been discussing something, and at the time you're on the spot, you may forget, and for them to be able to just jump in and help you out, I think is wonderful.
All right. She also had a third question here. What was your favorite location? Panama, Micronesia, Samoa, or Fiji?
My God, Fiji is the best. Listen, if you haven't
Okay.
been to Fiji is the best location that I've ever. And listen, I've been to four.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
It's amazing. Fiji,
Uh,
hands down.
all right. Yeah. Yeah. I was in the Cook Islands, which isn't too far from Fiji. It's in the area.
Why? I didn't get one bug bite in Fiji. Did I tell everybody that? Not one.
Nice.
Not one. I love Fiji. Bula!
All right. So it's time for our game, our Survivor Trivia game. Since you wanted that one to be your immunity challenge.
Oh, great. Here we go, Billy.
So it's true or false, and it's 5 questions. And
Okay.
yeah, it's 5 questions, and we have a leaderboard here. Let me see if I can find it here. I put it somewhere here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's right in front of me. I'm blind as a bat. Yeah, I have glasses and I still can't see. All right, so our standings right now, in first place is Matt Bischoff and Anthony Robinson with the 4.
Wow. Go, Anthony.
Yeah.
Go, Anthony.
So they both have 4-1 records.
Okay.
In second place is Figgy, Brian Corden, and Eric Reichenbach with
Go ahead, Ricky. Eric is a genius. Wait a minute. This makes me believe that this is hard because Eric knows all Survivor trivia.
Yeah. Well, they got 3 and 2. All of them are tied for second place.
Okay.
In third place is Cirie and Tanya with 2 and 3.
Wow.
2 and 3.
Wow.
And in last place with a 0 and 5 record is Joe Mina.
Joe, what are you doing? Listen, Billy, I'll be okay as long as I beat Joe.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. You can't do any worse.
Right.
All right, so question number one. Remember, these are all true and false. Question number one.
Okay.
Marquesas is the first season that both original tribes were represented in the final tribal council.
Oh, my God. True.
Booyah, you 1-0. It is true.
Okay.
All right, so this one's, in my opinion, out of the 5 questions, this is going to be the hardest one because it has to do with this podcast.
Okay.
Sandra has won 6 Oscars on the Survivor Oz Awards. True or false?
Wait a minute, Sandra. False.
Booyah, you got that right. She had won.
Bang!
She won 3, which is tied with you.
Oh!
Poverty is the one who won 6.
Wow, go Parv! Wow.
Yeah. All right, question number 3. Courtney Yates had won 2 individual challenges in China.
Damn, I remember Courtney. Oh, I remember Courtney. True.
That one is false. She just had one. All right, so you're 2-1. Okay, you can still tie for first.
Okay.
Guatemala is the only season thus far with no African American contestants.
Wait a minute, Guatemala. That was the fishmonger. Billy? I don't remember. I could see them.
True. You got it.
Okay.
You're 3-1 so far. Yeah. All right, last one here. Well, if you get this one right, you tie Matt and Anthony for first place.
All right, come on, Billy, let's get it.
All right. Thailand marks the first time that castaways' loved ones were able to compete alongside the castaways in an immunity challenge.
Oh, it was before that. Oh, Billy, was it time? No, it was before. False.
Oh, it's true. Thailand, yeah, season 5, yeah. That was the first time they got to compete in the actual immunity challenge, yeah.
Oh, damn.
3-2 though. You're tied in second place. You gotta
Great.
you gotta
The story of my life, Billy.
You're with Eric. You're with Eric, with Brian, and with Vicky in second place.
Oh, well, I'm in good company then. I'm in good company.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Cirie, for joining us on the Oz Network.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Ben. Ben is always asking me, so I'm glad that I can. Thank you, Billy. You know, I love Ben. I've been on Ben's on the Oz Network with Ben a few times, and he's reached out a few times since, and I just haven't had the opportunity. So I appreciate the opportunity this time.
No, it was totally my pleasure. Thank you. And thank you, fans, for listening and watching the Survivor Ghost Island recap.
Thank you for listening to the Oz Network. Don't forget to subscribe to get new episodes delivered to your speakers every week. For more information, hit us up at theoznetwork.net.